Genesis chapter 3, a conclusion. Right, so what did we learn in this chapter? Let's try and back it out, or open this package, or just give a simple explanation, or more simpler kind of explanation um, of what we see in this chapter. I remember when I was in school, and that is like ages ago, in my final year, we went on winter camp, school trip kind of, to the university we applied for. I applied to study science, so we visited a few the science, like the chemistry, for the maths and class and stuff like that, and as well a place where they were doing not particle acceleration, or they were doing studying atomic physics, and just outside of the place I studied, Stellenbosch in South Africa. And as a group, a group of school kids, we were led into this laboratory, and the professor was speaking with us, and telling us things. And the first thing he did was he told us that there in the back is a model that's covered by a blanket, and we must not lift up the blanket to look underneath it because it's sort of a secret. Now, I mean, I can just imagine, or you can, I think you can imagine what we were as kids then thinking. None of us even saw that blanket or this model, right? But the moment he pointed it out to us, we were all like, oh, what the heck is underneath there? Now we're really interested in trying to, right? So our interests were piqued by his words. I guess if he didn't say anything about it, we would never have thought even or seen it. Okay, so here we have the story of Adam and Eve then, being told by God, or at least remember in chapter 2, Adam was told by God to not eat of it. We don't know 100% sure how Eve found out about it. Logically, it would imply that Adam was the one who told her, right? So I think we can maybe see a scenario like the following, okay? The Garden of Eden. So yes, we don't know how big this garden was, right? It was sure covering the whole earth. It was a small little garden, right? But not that small a garden as well. I mean, it would not have been maybe a hectare or whatever. It was a big enough garden for the fruit and for the animals and everything to eat and live. Okay, but yes, so it was not. We have no idea how big this garden was. Okay, so we can sort of just think of how this could have been or not been. That's not the most important part. Okay, so just imagine. Okay, here God told Adam, then Adam told his wife. So maybe the following played out. Okay, according to some Bible scholars, this all happened on the 8th day. In other words, the day after the Sabbath. I think some of it has to do with the fact that Christ rose on the 8th day. So in other words, sort of to undo what they did. Right, and that's sort of why Christ rose on the 8th day, the Sunday. It's just we don't know, right? There's no way. We were not there in the garden. How long they were in the garden before they ate of this fruit? Absolutely no idea. Okay, so let's just sort of imagine. Maybe the next day, or a couple of days later. Okay. Adam took his wife, took Eve, say, Eve, I need to tell you something, right? You see all these beautiful trees here, and all the fruit, they taste so well, right? Even the durians don't smell bad yet. But there's this one tree that we're not supposed to eat of. It's there in the middle of the garden. Let's go there, and I'll go and show you, okay? So by showing it, you know exactly which tree, and you know what you're not supposed to do. So maybe you can imagine Adam and Eve setting off to the middle of the garden to this tree. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And Adam taking her there and saying, Eve, okay, right, here's this tree. God said, you're not allowed to eat of this fruit. And then maybe Adam was thinking himself, if I just say not eat of it, maybe, that's not stressing it enough. Maybe if I add a few words here to sort of stress it more, the importance of this tree. And so maybe that led into them saying, even you know what, you're not even supposed to touch it, right? Because then you'll die. Okay? Right? Maybe later that same day, maybe the next day, Adam and Eve, they were back there at the tree. And this time Adam not saying anything. There's a snake in the tree. Okay? They're not afraid of snakes yet. Right? None of them. Right? It's not like today. And so the snake starts speaking. Right? So you can see they're not afraid. Snake speaking. So whatever. Okay? Then Eve is not running away. It's not like, oh, what's going on here? A snake is speaking. I need to get away from your kind of idea. Something evil. Right? No, it's snake is speaking. She accepts it and she goes on. He asks a question. She answers. And Adam all this time is just standing there doing absolutely nothing. So the snake asks Eve and he leads her on with the questions. Okay, and Eve then utters the words of yes, God said, not any tree, remember? God said all trees, Eve, any tree. Okay? And so Eve let herself to be and she said, yes, no, we can't eat of any of the trees. Yes, sure, we can eat of any of the trees. But of this one, we're not allowed to eat of it or even touch it. So yeah, the devil could say, really touch? Really? Why not? Why not? Just come here, come and touch it. See something happening to you. Something you can just test God's word if something bad will happen to you or not. You can understand. And since God never said those words, she could have touched it. You could have had her just sort of touching it. So Eve touching the fruit, maybe, nothing happening, and then so easy, open door for the devil. So now you can just eat of it. If you touch it, nothing happens. So eat of it, because when you eat of it, then you will know, you will be free. Okay, and that sort of seemed to Eve then as if maybe not such a bad idea. And again, Adam is just standing there doing nothing. Why the heck? Why is he not doing anything? Why is he not protecting his wife, his helper? He's absolutely doing nothing. And then Eve took the fruit, she ate it, and she gave to Adam. Now Adam knew what God said. Even if he added words, but he knew because he was the first one to hear it. Why did he why did he eat it? Why didn't he do anything? Because he knew better. He knew the touching part is nonsense. Right? He knew it was just an addition. Why didn't he just sort of stop though? Why? Right? No, he didn't. Okay? He didn't fulfill his duty. The duty God gave him, not to Eve, to him. He downplayed it. He didn't care. He listened to, as God will later ask, why did you listen to your wife? Okay. And then God comes down into the garden after they then ate it. They're like, oh, we're naked. And they're like, oh, what is that? Oh, right. We need to do something here. And running off, taking fig leaves. Brilliant. Yeah, right. Sarcasm. Making loincloths. Yeah, right. Brilliant. And then God comes, good time of the day, searching for them, finding them, understanding God knew where they were, and asking them, so why? And then I'm like, yeah, that wife, that helper, yeah, great helper she is, God, you could have done better than her, right? I mean, she is the one, and you gave her, and And she's guilty. You are even more guilty because you gave her. Right? You're the omnipotent God. You're the omniscient God. You knew that she's this kind of helper. You knew better. Why the heck, God, did you do this? And then Eve. So Eve, why did you? Oh, it's that snake. The snake made me do it. The devil made me do it. No, I stole the money. I know I wasn't supposed to steal the money. But it's not me. It's not. I'm guilty. It's like if they didn't put the money there, if God, if you didn't hang the fruit there, maybe God, if you hang it a little bit higher up in the tree where I could not touch it, maybe God, if you made it a little bit less, it's a snake, right? At least in the chapter we see Eve didn't blame God like Adam did. Okay, she just blamed the snake. And then when we got to the snake, God was just, snake, you're guilty. I'm going to destroy you. I'm going to beat you. Okay? I mean, not as there is a competition. It's not as if God is fighting against the devil and he needs to beat him or he might lose against him. No, sure not. God just plain simply in verse 15 gives this prophecy concerning the coming of the one seed of woman who will destroy the head of the snake, right? And so we see the first point of all is Jesus here. Then woman is as well given the added that she will fight against the responsibility, the work of her husband, basically try to sit on his head kind of idea. And at the same time give pain in childbirth. And Adam, right, you will work hard. It's not going to be easy. Adam, you're going to die. All of you. And then there were, God clothed them, not with fig leaves, but with real clothes that could last, out there especially. And by grace sending him out of the garden. Right, so that is sort of the story of chapter 3. It all led to all this pain and destruction, right? It explains perfectly why we get sick. It explains why people die. It explains why when you go out, you work in the sweat, right? You're out there in the sun. Like there's lots of people now here building houses because everyone is fleeing to the city from everywhere in this country due to the ongoing civil war situation, and which forces people to build houses here for all these people fleeing, or at least all those from the other cities who can afford to buy houses here, right? So you can walk outside in the streets here, and there's garbage everywhere, right? You can go to the graveyards, people die. I recently witnessed an online, understandably, someone being buried, right? It's there's destruction, it's everywhere, and this chapter clearly explains to us, unlike other religions, this chapter explains to us why life is as is. It explains to us why there's evil. It explains to us why there's death. Other religions don't really do that. Okay, they try, but they don't really get to the concept of why ultimately there's death and destruction. But this is what we can see in this chapter. Okay, lastly, I just want to say I'm going to make now 4 extra videos. One is going to they will play into this chapter, but sort of the first 3 chapters, but a lot as well to do with this chapters. The first one will be in the attributes of God, and then I'll end with that love, grace, as well as attribute and understanding of God, what it shows. Then I'll look at how God's grace plays out in chapter 3. Then I'll look at how we are in in chapter 3. What's man like? Okay, and then I will sort of look at the question of why then ultimately God knew all of this. Did He still create this tree? Okay, thank you.